should be pulling up any minute. Usually takes like a little minute. All right, there we go. We are live. Okay. I'm gonna put this on mute. Okay, thank you everyone for joining our weekly Tuesday talks brought to you by NAMI Greater Houston. I am Carmen Martinez, Director of Development, and we have a special guest today, Danyelle Potter, and her amazing foundation. Today we really have a very beautiful story about self-love, self-care, overcoming struggles. And I want to introduce you everyone, Miss Danyelle. Danyelle, let everyone know who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, I would love to. Well, my name is Danyelle Potter. I am the founder and president of the Forever Fat Foundation. Forever Fat stands for Forever Fighting, Achieving, and Thriving. We're bringing awareness to rape and molestation, eating disorders, mental illness, and body shaming. My foundation is a direct depiction of my story. I've experienced everything that we're raising awareness to. My goal is to also try to break the negative stigma attached to mental health as well as the word fat, because it has hurt so many people over the years. People are scared to become plus size or in fear of being judged because of the way that they look. And sometimes there's a history to a person's size. You can develop a eating disorder if you have post-traumatic stress disorder due to some things that occurred to you in your childhood. Myself, I was raped and molested from 2 to 9. It took a long time to become confident in the woman I am today. And I would like to encourage others along their journey to understand that the things that may have happened to you in your past, it doesn't define your life. You do not have to hate yourself because of the way you're looking.
So I love the name. I mean, we actually communicated through our Instagram social media at NAMI GH on our Instagram page. And I that really caught my attention, like Forever Fat. And I reached out to you, and just when you told me what it stands, I mean, forever fighting, achieving, and thriving. Those are very powerful words, but very encouraging words. And I'm very eager to showcase your story to everyone, because I mean, not only mental illness has a stigma, but just body shaming in general. And
Right.
I think you're wonderful to really be here today in this platform to really showcase your story. So tell us, before we get into your story, tell us a little bit about where you're from, what's your background, and how did the Forever Fat Foundation even come about?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I moved to Houston, I want to say, oh my goodness, I'm gonna date myself, but about 20 years ago. I came down here to go to school, get my college degree. I got that from the University of Phoenix. I've been working in account management and accounting for now over 10 years. And basically, Forever Fat came about during a season that I was becoming one with myself. And I was actually on the track. And I thought about everything that I had to work through to get to that point. And God placed Forever Fat on my mind. And everything, you don't give up. You're always constantly fighting, achieving, and thriving to get to the next level. And even with last year, you think about it, a lot of people went through several life changes due to the pandemic, and right now they're working to become their best self, and as well as find a new level in life to become one within.
Right. So self-love, you had to reach to a point of, and I want you to be transparent on,
Okay.
discussing just the point that made you realize that, the negative stigma behind body image. And that affects, all women of all ages, of all diversity. When you got to the point of self-love, what does self-love mean to you? And give us some encouraging stories about what you struggled through when you were able to reach and accept a positive self-love about yourself?
Okay, growing up, I was always the plus size kid. So everybody would say, "Oh, Danyelle, you're so pretty in the face," but they'll forget the other part. It's a body behind that's attached to that head that's on my shoulder, which creates that face. However, they will always say I wasn't the kid that necessarily got picked on. However, I was kind of like the one that, oh, if it was a game at school that we needed to play, they didn't want to pick me because they knew I was going to move a little bit slower. And just being with friends that has um body image issues, whether it's because of their size or a certain look that they have that's not quote unquote society's norm. You stand out and you are judged from time to time. And Forever Fat is about owning your own self, being happy with you, the way you look in the mirror, how you see yourself, having respect with yourself, and encouraging others to know that you have to grow to love the person you are in order for you to excel in life to your fullest. Because if you're not one with self, if you don't feel like you are the best that you can be, if you're not happy with the person in the mirror, you're going to always walk through life feeling less than. And it's time for you to accept who you are. Now, if me becoming one with myself was, it took a while to get here. It was, I was less confident growing up. Now my family and friends didn't know that because I was the one that everybody came to with their issues. And they didn't think, oh, Danielle got her own or that she may be working on.
Right.
But I was that one that they relied on. And just growing up, it just being a plus size woman or plus size teenager, plus size kids, you stood out above everybody else. And just walking in my own journey and finding out, okay, I can love who I am and you deserve to respect me regardless of my size, and that's what you're going to have to do. And that take years of growth. That take years of growth.
So at what part, I mean, words can be very, very hurtful. I mean,
Mhm.
especially when it comes to, when you're young and you hear the words fat or any other negative words, as you're growing up and you're still kind of, learning your self-love and learning to appreciate your body image, because there isn't a perfect body image. Everybody has their own perfection within their own mind. It's really like
Exactly.
you're saying, owning the body image that you feel comfortable with and that you learn to appreciate. If you could tell someone, your young self, when you were hearing these things, oh, she's pretty, but and you hear that, overcome that, that hurts your soul, that hurts your spirit. What would
Exactly.
you tell someone that is younger, that is listening to these negative words, especially just the word fat? And like I said, I love the fact that your foundation represents forever fight, achieving, and thriving, because that's basically, powerful words that you have to kind of recognize and appreciate within yourself and not let that negative stigma, define you. What would you tell someone younger when they're hearing these negative words, and how to overcome that negative stigma with the body shape?
Well, I would tell them that they're more than their size. Their size doesn't define who they are as a person, and that they will grow up to be confident and love their attributes that they offer to the world. They can be a good writer. They might have a nice style, a dressing style. They could have a good personality. Those are the qualities that they will need to learn to love about themselves, and eventually them learning to love themselves in increments will make them more confident when they grow up, regardless of their size. And Forever Fat is not just about body image. You
Right.
have people out there with um disinformities within their body. It could be just the way they look in general. I don't want to get
Right.
so caught up on the word fat. It's because
Right.
it's more than a size. It's about a fight for life. It's truly about a fight for life.
Right.
Yes, we're breaking the negative stigma attached to the word fat. However, we are encouraging people to accept themselves the way they are, regardless of how they look. But as far as talking to a younger, even my younger self, I would tell her to focus more on the things that she loved to do. Don't be afraid to go out and try new things. Your size doesn't have to hold you back. And then you also, once you realize that you love what you're doing and how you feel about yourself, you will eventually just start to work on getting yourself in a healthier shape, as far as eating to live instead of living to eat.
Right. And you have amazing amazing postings and very encouraging on your social media on Instagram. Um and it's, Forever Fat Fridays. It's Danielle's handle on Instagram. You put something here that was very beautiful to me. You put, the first step to falling in love with yourself involves self-care. And I know
Right.
we always hear the word self-care, self-care. Um, what is your definition of self-care, and how has that helped you overcome your everyday struggles?
Self-care is when you take care of yourself mentally, telling yourself you love yourself, basically getting up every morning, putting on some clothes, washing your face, taking time out to just collect your thoughts before you go out into the world. Because if you're not together mentally, you're not going to be able to present yourself well to the world. And it's the way your thought process is basically your armor to the world. So when they come to you with that negative stuff, if you already got your shield of armor on, it's nothing nobody can do or say to hurt you. You're able to go out there and face anything that may come to you. And you can look your best doing it. If you want to get up and put on a pair of slacks or a nice dress, it's those feel good things that you can do to have that confidence stored in you. And it's all about taking care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, you're also taking care of your mental health. Because when you get in and if you want to go, if you have a stressful day, what you're going to do, you're going to take a bath, you're going to take a nice nap, read a book, things of that nature are what I consider self-care.
Thank you for that. I know it's also a tough topic to discuss about traumas and,
Mhm.
incidents that happen in your life that are very impactful. But you also talk about courage, and courage to heal from that past trauma. Share
Right.
with us, just your story on your own personal traumas and how you were able to, feel courageous and really just overcome those struggles. What were some of the tools and techniques that helped you in these particular events in your life?
One of the major tools that I had was, um, I didn't want to personally become that statistic, and realizing that there was nothing wrong with me, something bad happened to me. Um, a lot of times, people in general get caught up on, oh, I can't let people know because I did something wrong. I could have prevented that. In most cases, they are children. They are a child when that trauma happened. It's a lot of manipulation in that. As far as getting over it for myself, one of the things was accepting what happened to me, accepting, taking that ownership of, hey, this wasn't my fault. Something bad happened to me. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But when you're growing up, you don't want the world to know that. Why? Because they're going to judge you.
Right.
And the thing is, once you've opened up, you will find out that there's more people than not that unfortunately that type of abuse happened to. And the purpose of my foundation is to bring people with like or similar stories together so we can communicate and involve and build off of each other. Not as far as, we're not a group of people that's sitting around discussing trauma and being woe is me. We're saying, hey, this happened in my past, but we're here today and we're going to overcome this. Now, overcoming involves a lot of self-esteem. You got to know how you feel. You got to learn how to express your feelings in order to receive the help that you need. Me personally, one of the things I had to do, Corman, was when I got older, I had to get counseling to
Right.
just figure out what to figure out mainly that it wasn't my fault because I had a lot of guilt. I had a lot of guilt, like, oh my goodness, how could I allow that to happen? The manipulation that comes with it as a child. People don't realize that they're being brainwashed to do things that they normally wouldn't do, or they know they probably shouldn't do. And that's where the guilt come in, and you have to learn that self-respect. Like, I honor my body, and I'm not going to allow anybody to do anything to my body, or I'm not going to allow you to say anything about my body, because it's not yours to judge. And Forever Fat is about taking that power back.
So I know that I want to mention another post that it was very kind of when I saw the statistics on the color teal and how
Uh-huh.
many sexual it says every 92 seconds someone is sexually assaulted. Can you share a little bit about the teal color in your post and just that statistics and bring an awareness on just sexual assault as far as the month of April?
The month of April, um, that's Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And basically, the more people that share their story, and it let others that still, I would say, they haven't came out of the closet and basically said, hey, this happened to me because
Right.
of their guilt. So the more we talk about it, the more people can heal from it. Then people will know that, hey, that wasn't your fault. It's okay. There's help out there. The feelings that you have are valid feelings. The feelings of hurt, the feeling of being betrayed, taken advantage of, those are valid feelings, and no one should make you feel bad for having those feelings. A lot of times people say, oh, you need to let that go. Well, until you're in somebody's shoes, you don't know how to let that go, and it's not that easy. And I will say this, I don't believe in forgive and let go. I believe in forgive, heal, and move on, because
Exactly.
you can be walking down the street and see somebody that will prompt a trigger to take you back to that moment. So you're steady trying to figure out ways how to deal with it. It may catch you off guard, but you don't have to stay stuck in that place. You can come up with a coping plan to handle those triggers so that you can continue to focus in your journey at that particular time. And we need to let more people know about the color teal and sexual assault, because it's not just children, it's women as well, and it's men as well. So the more we talk about it, society can heal together. Society can stop being so quick to judge someone based upon something that happened to them or the way that they look.
Yeah, and it's a good point that you mentioned, because I think we forget when it comes to healing from a sexual assault trauma is that men go through it as well. It's not just it's not just for women that they suffer, but tell us a little bit as far as, it's hard for a male to come up and share, their stories and really heal from that because of the stigma and just being scared to share that story. Give us a couple of things that you can tell to someone, especially a male, to speak up on their experience, or to be able to, from that sharing that story, to be able to heal, and just those baby steps of what they need to do to overcome that struggle.
As far from a male point of perspective, I actually had three males that shared their story with me, ranging from a homeless to a multimillionaire. Um, they handle they suppress what happened to them because they don't want to feel less than a man. That doesn't mean you're not a man if you share your story. It's other people out there that has similar stories to yours. Though that anger that you're feeling is valid. You feel like somebody violated you, which they did. you telling your story is going to release that hurt. It allows you to deal with the emotions that you've been internalizing for years, that's scoring you from the inside out. You always want to open up just to so you can realize that there's help out there for you.
Yeah, that's a good point to mention that, because I mean, I can only imagine the trauma of just talking and just, being able to open up about something dramatic. And I know you mentioned, how a trauma can definitely affect your mental health. So share with us as far as just how you overcame those struggles with mental health from that trauma, and how it's up and down. Sometimes you'll have good days, sometimes you'll have bad days. But what were some of your coping skills and mechanisms when was dealing with your mental health?
One of the things is learning how to control the anxiety and live in the moment. Because when you become aware of your thoughts, you can better deal with your thoughts. Okay. Sometimes, like for example, when I come across a trigger, I have to take a moment and step back and become aware, okay, this may have triggered me to remember this person, but that person is no longer in my life. So, with that being said, I may take a 5 or 10 minute break to get that breather before I continue on with my day. Sometimes it's not always that easy. Sometimes you have to learn how to talk. I was one of those persons that internalize everything. You didn't want to tell your friends because, again, you don't want to be judged. You don't want people in your family business, or thinking your family is abnormal because of this happening. And sometimes the things that happen to you are not blood related per se. It's an outside person that did it. In some cases, unfortunately, you do have people where their mothers and fathers and brothers have touched them inappropriately, whether it be sexual or just physical. And when I say just physical, it's not saying that is less than being sexually assaulted. It's just that it's on two different levels and people deal with it differently. Me personally, one of the main things that I had to do was learn how to open up, because holding on to that was hurting me in more ways than one. I can go to work and nobody would ever know. I was that person that was talkative at work, a people person, helping everybody. And when I got home, some days it was rough. I just come home on the weekends and stay in the house, not knowing that's a form of depression, or that can lead into depression. So the main thing I would tell people to do is it's okay to talk about how you feel. And then from there, you can learn alternative ways to deal with those emotions. Whether you're mad, you're upset, you're just hurting, you can talk, and we can all get along and figure out ways on how to communicate better and deal with those emotions accordingly.
Right. So we have a question that just came, well, yeah, a question that came on the comment. Um, how do you overcome memories of a past sexual abuse when they enter your mind? What helped you kind of, I don't want to say forget about those memories, but what is something that helped you heal when those memories kind of come and go throughout your life?
Um, First, when they come, one of the things I like to do is write out how you truly feel about that memory that came to mind. Um, that way it allows you to express yourself without the judgment or the fear of being judged. Can't nobody tell you how you're supposed to feel. So if you write it out, that's one way. Find that person that you feel comfortable with sharing your story. Some people, if they have hobbies where they paint, you can paint. Go find a happy place. Find a happy place, a happy task. You can go for walks. You can call people. You can paint. You can write. It just depends on yourself. Reach out to a group. Forever Fat is out there now. I have a community of women and men that are coming together, and we talk about certain things. And we do have 2 different programs that we will be rolling out this year, where one is actually, both of them are called W2O, like H2O, is Writing to Overcome and Walking to Overcome, that we'll be rolling out in February. Feel free to sign up and follow us on Instagram, and we'll be putting more out there about that. And we're also going to eventually have like counselors come in and give us some more self-help tools to get through those journeys. But definitely write and find someone that you're close to, that you can express your feelings.
Thank you for that, Danielle. We have another comment that came through. Who would be the right person when you're wanting to express that you are being sexually abused, or who would be a person that you can trust if you have no one as far as a family member or someone close? Where would you be able to get help?
It's RAINN, RAINN. That's the National Association for Rape and Assault. So you will be able to reach out to them. Before we get off, I will give you their contact number, and you can call them as well. Also, if it's a child, they can go to their teachers, their counselors at school, to let them know, and they will get the appropriate parties involved to help you get out of that situation.
Okay, thank you for that. We have another comment of someone that just put, is there anything positive when it comes to really confronting your attacker? Is that something that is a healing tool, or you should not do that?
I would say every situation is different. Some situations can be very dangerous. In my situation, it was family related. It was my mom's ex-husband. So he reached out to me out of the blue. And when I tell you, it shut my world down. He reached out to me in 2012. I hadn't thought about that man in years. He sent me a friend request. And I remember laying in bed, dealing with all those emotions from why did he reach out to me? What made him feel that was okay? To being in a really dark spot. But when I came out of it, I was able to write him and respond and let him know exactly how I felt, how much damage he caused to my family. And I let him know the things that he did wrong. Now, it wasn't in what you would call a friendly way per se. I expressed how I feel the way I felt at that time. Now, approximately 6 months later, I actually went to, no problem, church, and they was doing, a young lady was doing a seminar on the butterfly effect. It's basically how you're a caterpillar starting out, and then you go into that cocoon stage, and that's where you're getting your healing and you're growing on all levels, whether it's physical, mental, you're developing into this butterfly. So I was like, oh, I like that. I wanted to, she was a preacher, and she was going to be preaching the next day. And it's just so happened that next day she was preaching on forgiving of rape and molestation. And she brought this up in church, and I thought that's not a normal topic per se that they talk about in the church, because church wants you to come in, it's holier than thou in most cases, and those are not topics that they want to talk about in the Bible. However, with that being said, it was placed on my heart to forgive my molester at that point. And even though I was a child, they used molestation, it still was rape. A child doesn't know that they can say no. They're doing what an adult tell them to do. So a part of that is telling them, yes, you can, and it is a good release for you mentally. I also had a lady that she was real off in her 60s that came across, and she was still scared to tell her abuser to this date about what happened. One of my suggestions is, in that particular case, when you can't talk to your abuser or it's not a safe situation, you can write down those feelings, how you feel, and tell that person exactly how you feel in a letter, and you can burn that letter. And when you burn that letter, that will be your release of that. And I'm not saying go create a fire. Be careful. I'm not saying it, but
Right, right.
and it helped her. It actually helped because she was finally able to get out all those emotions that she felt inside and release them. Of course, we talked for hours before she did it, but that was okay. That was okay. Because you never know when you're going to walk across that person. You never know when a trigger is going to come up. You will learn how to deal with your triggers by figuring out what's best for you.
Thank you, Danyelle. So for those of you joining in, we're talking to Danyelle Potter. She is the founder of Forever Fat Foundation. FAT stands for Forever Fighting, Achieving, and Thriving. So we're talking about how to encourage others to know that there's life after adversity, regardless of their dress size, and also how to overcome a trauma, especially a sexual abuse trauma. So Danyelle, tell us a little bit as far as when you have good moments and positive moments, what are good things that just help you smile and help you just be in the moment when it comes to positivity in your life? Tell us some rituals that you might do.
Um, I like to write. That's my biggest thing is writing. But going outside, taking a nice drive, going for a walk in the park, hanging out with family and friends. Those are how you ways you can stay positive, even in the darkness. You don't have to sit and wallow in sorrow. You can just live life. Just simply going to the lake and just taking in the fresh air and can put a smile on your face. Try to find positive people that doesn't get caught up in the drama, whether it's with social drama, politics, whatever that's going on negative. Try to avoid that for a while, especially if you already know that you're not in such a great place yourself. You need to find people to hang around with that's upbeat, that's motivating, that's encouraging. Your group, your circle of friends or family members that you associate with the most, you need to make sure that they're bringing positive stuff to the table that feeds your soul as well. But the personal stuff is going for a walk, the drive. I love going for a drive on a nice day and letting the sunroof back or just simply letting the windows down. Just get on the highway and just take a long drive.
Are you driving without the radio on? Are you in silent, or do you play like a favorite station? Like I know for myself when I'm feeling I just need a little break. I've found myself, it calms me down now where I just shut everything down and I have nothing on the radio. It's just me on the road.
Um, I do both. It depends
Okay.
on what's going on. Sometimes if it was a heavy day, I might turn on some gospel. Sometimes I like rap. It really depends on how I'm feeling. And some days you do just want that air. You just want to feel the breeze. And if you can get on a long stretch of highway, it's a nice breeze, breath of fresh air when the window is down. I'm quite sure you know if you went driving.
Right. So we have a comment here. How can you help a friend if you can pinpoint maybe some warning signs or some signals you have become, or you are a survivor and you have overcome that trauma in your life, but looking from the outside in, if you notice some warning signs, how are you able to help a friend, and what would be the right way to approach a conversation if you're noticing some of the warning signs from a assault or an abuse based on your own experience?
Um, if you notice, I would say I take it from two different aspects. One is if it's something that I've been through, start talking about what I've been through to kind of break the ice.
Got it.
And you got to kind of gauge because you don't want nobody to force someone to come out. Okay. Even if you've seen something on TV, you can bring up the conversation that way. You want them to feel comfortable opening up to you. And in some cases, on the other hand, where you know they're been abused and you're seeing the bruises, you can let them know, hey, I don't know what happened, but you can talk to me about anything, and be upfront and honest. I'm here to help you. I'll find help for you. We can work through this together. But definitely, you have to be very mindful of not trying to put too much pressure on them to opening up, because that can make them pull back from you.
Right. And I know sometimes it's hard because people don't know what to say. Um, Give us some sentences or just some special words that you can ask a friend, things that you can say, and things you shouldn't say or you shouldn't ask to respect their safety, their privacy, and also just, I mean, you're having this conversation for them to encourage support and encourage to seek help. So are there any phrases that you should stay away from or any encouraging phrases that you should use when you're dealing with talking about that to a friend?
One phrase you most definitely should stay away from is, it's your fault. You shouldn't have done this. You should have been more open or doing what they said, things of that nature. You never tell a person that's in a victim situation that it's their fault for whatever reason. You should have listened to that person, or you shouldn't have had on those type of clothes. You should have said no. You don't use those type of statements, because you're making them feel worse, in some cases more than the abuser. So they're just going to pull back from you. One of the things, several of the things that you can tell them is that um nothing in this world that you could have ever did made you deserve that.
Got it.
That you are loved, you are valued. You need to let them understand that you are there for them. That's the main thing. Don't ever be judgmental in that situation. And even though you want to open up and say, hey, I know you're going through this, that may not always be the best case, because when you come out that way, you're coming out too harsh in most cases for some people, because they're already in a vulnerable state. They have to feel comfortable with you to open up. So if you know they're going through something, we see it on TV all the time. Bring up a case on TV that you saw and see how they feel. Kind of gauge, look at their body language. And based upon their body language, feel free to go. And if they start opening up, then you kind of go and be like, hey, have this ever happened to you? It's okay at that moment, but you have to gauge. It's no right answer on to how to handle every case of abuse.
That's very good to mention that because I know, as a friend, you might be thinking, I want to help. And, sometimes that's why we're here to educate people, to encourage them and to really just guide them on the right phrases and what to say because, we don't know. You just have to just be reassuring and be patient because the things to say, it's really, how can I help? I'm glad you told me, I'm here, you're not alone. Some of
Right.
those powerful phrases that will encourage, your friend to just kind of share that past and share that struggle, but also to be able to overcome as a survivor.
Exactly.
Someone's asking here, how do we become part of the foundation and where do we go with the things you mentioned earlier, the upcoming programs you have coming up?
You can follow at Forever Fat Fridays on Instagram, and you can also like the Forever Fat Foundation page on Facebook. We are going to be launching a website soon, so all of that information will be shared on that as well. And we'd love to have you. We would love to have you.
Awesome. I'm trying to see, there was one more here that I wanted to see. Um, how, I know you mentioned something earlier as far as, overcoming with your mother's stepfather, was it mother's
With
boy, your,
my mom's ex-husband.
how do you have that conversation now with your mother as an adult? How do you address something like that? Because I know that's something very, um, it could be a very powerful and very scary to discuss that with your mother. Can you share whatever makes you feel comfortable as far as having that communication and sharing your side of how you felt?
I'm very transparent when it comes to my story. So my mom actually knew. I told my mom, and she decided to stay with this individual. So it's a strain on our relationship. Um, I used to always wonder how couldn't she know I was a child. There had to be different things that I've done. It, losing your virginity at an early age, there have to be body languages. I had to walk different. I had to have a change in attitude. And here recently, she used to tell me, well, she didn't believe me. And I just found out because I requested the police report because I'm working on a book project. And in that police report, it actually stated that she knew. So that's another can of worms that we have to address, because it could be her guilt why she didn't tell me the truth, especially since she stayed with him, because I came out when I was 9. So that's a conversation we will have. Not necessarily to make her feel more guilty, but for me to have a better understanding and hear it out. And that could be her case of saying, okay, to finally release her guilt and tell me the truth. But I would definitely gauge the situation and most definitely talk to your parent about what happened. And in some cases, like my own, your parents already know. And unfortunately, it's not going to always be the best scenario of let's grow, let's see how we can get past this, let's get counseling. In some cases, it's okay to separate from parents, because parents can be toxic, and
Right.
you have to do what's in your best interest.
That's very good. For those of you guys that have been joining us, we're talking to Danyelle Potter, founder of Forever Fat Foundation, stands for Forever Fight, Achieving and Thriving. So now let's talk about you now. I mean, I'm envisioning you say you mentioned you like to write a lot. What's next for you? What's your vision, with growing the foundation and finding that support for individuals that are survivors and sharing their stories and really have that community of, just feeling supported. What's next step for you?
I got two things on the plate. Of course, starting the new programs, Writing to Overcome and Walking to Overcome. We're going to actually do Walking to Overcome as a virtual thing. So you can sign up through Zoom and you can work out from your home, whether you have a treadmill, elliptical, you can even walk in place or walk around the room, but it's going to be some type of movement that you can do, and it'll be different topics of the week we have for both programs. I'm also going to release a book, hopefully by the end of the first quarter of this year. Is 30 days of motivation. Change your mind, change your attitude, change your life. So I'm ready to release that. And as far as growing the foundation, is getting making more people aware by doing things such as this. I have a magazine that's based out of New York that came across our page that want to collaborate on something. So looking forward to that.
That's exciting to hear because it's not an easy topic. It's not um, like I said, I'm glad when we were having that dialogue of even bringing up this topic because it can be very taboo and very, put a cover on it when it comes to sexual abuse and trauma. But they have, they have survivors there that are encouraging and like you're saying, not to feel guilt when it comes to that. And I think it's wonderful that you're sharing your story because that's the only way to overcome things and to learn and to seek help is just to listen to other stories and feel that you're there in their journey, you're holding their hands, you understand the struggles, you understand every emotion as much as you can because you're a survivor now, you're part of a solution moving forward.
And Carmen, I want to mention one thing, because the topics that we're bringing awareness to, they kind of play off of each other because um, I was raped and molested. So that led into a mental illness. I didn't know it at the time that I was battling like the depression at times. And I turned to food, which developed it into another eating disorder. And that came
Right.
along with the body shaming in some cases. Um, I have a young lady, a part of our group, that everybody that was molested and raped, first of all, are not big. Every big person you see is not because they was raped and molested. But I do want to bring the eating disorders to light because it is a form of a mental illness.
Okay.
And sometimes it's triggered by trauma. I have a lady that I have a couple of ladies that are bulimic and anorexic, and they feel like, one in particular, she feel like when she don't eat, when the skin come back, it's almost as a part of her skin that never been violated. So it's, you have to take it step by step with everybody. I don't know what it is like not to eat, basically, but at the same time, and I say that jokingly because I try to bring a sense of life to every given situation. Yes, it's a tough conversation to have, but if I can still shed some sense of humor to it, and trust me, you have to gauge the conversation. I'm very keen on telling people that, because if you laugh in a moment where it's not appropriate, you lose it. You lose that person. They may never come back. So
Right.
in that case, you have to be very careful. But most of the people that come through my foundation, they looking for that upbeat, that positive, that sense of belonging, and that they're not alone. And I'm so happy that God gave me this purpose to build this foundation.
I think that's wonderful, Danielle. I mean, because we all need that positivity. I mean, like we discussed earlier, it's a tough topic to discuss, but you also need to find that recovery is possible and that you can overcome it. And it's
Right.
not going to take, it might take you, a very long time in your lifetime to even come out and share that experience. And it's traumatizing, but I think it's wonderful what you're doing,
Thank you.
encouraging others, and you're very positive in general. I could tell that from our conversation. So I think it's just wonderful. I think it's very encouraging for others to just speak up and know that that particular trauma is not supposed to hold you back in your life. It's supposed
Right.
to just accept that it happened, and just you know move forward and look at the positive outlook when it comes to overcoming any trauma in life.
And here's the thing, there's different stages in the healing process.
Right.
When you're not going to think about it every day when you're at my stage. I choose to deal with it through my foundation. That's kind of a healing process, to see other people grow within that healing process. It encouraged me more. I say this all the time, encouraging others encourages me. But I I fight, achieve, and thrive every day. Every day I wake up, I'm fighting for life. Every day I'm making steps towards progression to excel in life. And that's where you thrive. And it's everybody. Forever Fat is for everybody. You don't have to have went through some of these things to be a
Right.
part of the foundation. Um, the thing is, we're all connected, because it's someone in almost everybody's group, they know somebody that has been affected. So my goal for the foundation is to eventually have a walk. Are you familiar with like the turkey trot? Or
Yeah,
um
yeah.
I would
Turkey trot is very fun.
yes, I would love to have a walk to show survivors they're not alone, and people that's supporting us to come together and give back to the cause that can grow our foundation. We have t-shirts out there, and we'll be putting those out as well. um, I'm just happy and grateful for the people that's coming out and sharing their stories, and as well as the supporters.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful that you mentioned as far as just the connection with, the eating disorders, how that affects your mental health and overall, overcoming those mental illnesses that, it's necessary to be able to just go in the right path and go in the right track. And funny that you mentioned about a walk. We have our national NAMI walk, which will be this year on May 22nd, 2021. We're going to do a virtual component
Okay.
for that day. It's the National Day of Hope, we're calling it. So it's going to be something very exciting. We would love to partner up with you as you're creating your future walk on just
Great.
getting that engagement on social media with just walking your way, walking into a positive path. Whatever that platform is that's going to help you overcome. We definitely are looking forward to that. I know it's been a hard year for everyone last year, but I think this year, as we continue to just, you know, cope with, the current situation, but I think we have to kind of see that light at the end of the tunnel. And it's all exactly what you're saying. It's really thriving, it's achieving, it's every day waking up and just, overcoming things, because every day you can have your bad days, you might have your good days, but we want to focus on the good days overall.
Exactly. And a lot of people are dealing with a lot of things that happen to them because they're being forced to work from home or they lost their jobs. So normally, you have a lot of people out there that was like myself that would drown themselves into work. So you didn't have to think about it. But now I'm learning that a lot of people are starting to deal with some of that trauma or the slowing down to even think about what happened to them or what they've already survived but they never dealt with. Dealing with the things that's taking place in your life or that have took place in your life is part of moving forward.
Typing in here on the chat. People are asking about the walk. Okay. Well, let's see. So let's finish with something positive. Tell me a positive story that, as you're driving and you're listening to your gospel or your rap or whatever music is just, energizes your soul. Tell us a good story that you would like to share with everyone that when you think about it, just brings you joy and just brings you happiness.
I, I wasn't driving this day, but I was actually in the nail shop and it was a lady that came in and she was talking about how she needed to get her nails done because she was just biting her nails. And she wanted to get like them an overlay put on them, and you can tell she didn't necessarily look like everybody else that was there. Her hair was kind of all over the place, but she was still trying to do something good for herself. So I offered to pay to get her nails done. Just in doing that, she opened up to me and we had a similar story. And what I find is you never know who you have a connection with. Okay. So if you just be kind to the person in your surroundings, regardless if you know them or not, you can learn and actually have a friendship develop if you choose to be nice. So being kind is a choice. So you should choose it. So we're gonna end on that note.
I wrote that down, Danielle. Be kind, but choose to be kind. I think
Yes.
that's a wonderful story. I mean, who would know at the nail shop, which every woman can make that connection. We love our nail moments, and just I think that's wonderful. Just you opening that dialogue and offering a kind gesture connected you with an individual, a complete stranger, on something similar. So we never know, like you said, what someone is struggling, but just be kind and choose kind. And we're gonna wrap up our weekly Tuesday talk with Miss Danyelle Potter. So give us again your Instagram handle and your Facebook for everyone to follow you and further ask any questions if they want to join and just become advocates with you organization.
Okay. Instagram is at Forever Fat Fridays, just like it's spelled. Fridays is plural. And on Instagram is Forever Fat Foundation. You can leave a message. I normally try to respond back within an hour or two. If not, you definitely get a response within 24 business hours. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to address them. I do have a team that's coming on board, so we're working on getting a quicker response. One other thing, I know I told them I was going to give them the phone number to RAIN. I want to do that. This is the
Okay.
National Sexual Assault Hotline. It is 1-800-656-4673. Again, that's 1-800-656-4673.
Got it. We got that on the comment section. And it's RAINN.org. If you guys have any you want to further information on just the National Sexual Assault telephone and hotline and website, that's RAIN, RAINN.org. And the number again is 1-800-656-4673 or 1-800-656-HOPE.
That's correct.
Thank you, Danyelle. It's been a pleasure. And I know this isn't going to be our only dialogue this year. I look forward to just knowing more about you and learning as your foundation is growing, because I know what you're doing is an amazing thing. And we're definitely are very excited and very just thankful for your outreach and your advocacy. And this is definitely, we're here to continue to save lives, and it's little story by story at a time. That's how we're going to do it.
Thank you, Corman. I really appreciate the opportunity. I thank everybody for participating and asking questions. That make me look forward to what's to come. So I'm glad you guys took something away from this, and it was a topic that people got involved in. I really am grateful.
And just to let our viewers know, our Facebook Live stays up on our Facebook NAMI Greater Houston Facebook page. So you can always go rewatch the live, share the live with any of your friends. You can just go to our Facebook Live, and we also repost it on our website, and we repost it on our YouTube page. So thank you, Danyelle. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we will talk to you later.
All right, have a great one.
All right, bye.
Bye.